Okay, hello. Today I am doing a big organization cleaning project. I am going to reorganize my entire library, which I have never done in my entire life. I have just been adding books and adding books and adding books and kind of shift them around from time to time, like a couple books at a time, but I've never taken all of my books off my shelves and put them into categories and put them back on the shelves in a more organized way. And that is what I'm going to do today. And also finally get rid of all of the books that have been sitting around that are supposed to be donated and that I haven't done anything about, and so they're just taking up space right now. So I'm going to deal with that, and also probably find some more books to donate. That's the plan. I have a to-do list, Adela's library reorganization plan. I have written out the bookshelves that I have and what books I want to have, where I want the books to go on those bookshelves, and then I have a to-do list. And first up on the to-do list is clean my bedroom because I don't have space to organize books because there's just it's just a really big mess, so let's go do that. Clearing off my big bookshelf, and I think it might be finally time to get rid of these wooden paintings I made when I was like 12. I've had them on my bookshelves since I was like 12, and every time I'm doing a declutter, I'm like, do I really need to keep these? Literally, it's just 3 colors of paint poured and spun around until they made cool shapes, but I've always kept them. Don't they have the names of them on the side? This is Rainbow Ghosts. This is the Blue Dragon. And this one is the Phoenix. Should I throw them out? Maybe I should ask if anyone wants them. Also might be finally time to say goodbye to this corn cob that my senior dancers gave me last year. It's very shriveled and sad looking, but it made me really happy when they gave it to me. So that's why I've just kept it, but it is very sad looking. I think I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye, corn cob dancer. I feel like I've made a lot of progress, but at the same time I feel like I've made no progress. My room is clean, tidy. The next thing on my list is to separate the donation piles. Okay, that's not too hard. And then start filling one of the bookshelves in that room. This is what I did a couple days ago. I took all the books down from those 2 shelves, which were just totally random, mostly books inherited from my parents, and then a bunch of kids' books that I kept from since I was a kid, and some that I've collected. So that was the beginning of my bookshelf reorganization, was just taking all these books down. Right now I need to get all of the books that I'm giving away, which I already have sort of separated, and I'm going to put them all over there so I know that those are all the books that are being donated. And then I have to start actually putting things on the correct shelves. Let's go. Back to bookshelf reorganization, now featuring pants. I had a long break going to the chiropractor and procrastinating, but we're back. I just remembered that I wanted to put plays with the poetry stuff, so I have these plays to put there. Suppose that will be... I'm trying to figure out, I have these French books, but I also have these French kids books. I have French kids books, and I also have French like educational books. And I'm trying to figure out if I should put all of the French books with the educational stuff, or all of the French books with the kids stuff, or the French kids books with the kids stuff and the French educational stuff with the education stuff. I guess I'll just keep all the, maybe my kids will be bilingual and then they can just use all of the books. These aren't even French. I'm gonna get in this pile. Black shelf number 3, which is that little one over there, which is going to be nonfiction, sci-fi, contemporary fiction, and anthologies. Nonfiction, I guess, includes all of my education stuff. I have too many categories, but I guess that, yeah, it has to be all the education stuff. Has to go there. And that shelf's gonna go in that room. Okay. Goblin brain that wants to keep stashing these for memories. I cut them out of the sweatshirts that they came from because I didn't want to keep the sweatshirts, but I wanted to keep the memories of these shows that we did. But do I really need that? What am I gonna do with these? What am I gonna do with them? Sew them onto something? Probably not. No, I guess I'll just goodbye. They're gone. Okay. I'm not sure about like memoirs. I said they're gonna go on that shelf, but I'm like, sometimes I feel like I would want to have out like in my room. Let's put these all here. Picture books all done. Okay, now I need to take all of the books off the rest of my shelves and organize them into categories. Why do I have this terrible book that I wrote when I was 16 and self-published? Also, why do I still have 2 Bibles? One that my grandma gave me and one that I got from confirmation, even though that was when I realized I wasn't Christian. Goodbye. Who needs these anymore, am I right?
Sleeping with the fishes.
Okay, I'm leaving these ones here for now because hear me out. If there's not space on the shelf that I'm putting all my high fantasy on, I'm putting them up on that shelf because they're gorgeous. Busy doing lots of other stuff, but I'm gonna finish my library reorganization today, and the first thing I need to do is get all of these donation books into these bins. Let's go. junior fiction series books to that bookshelf and hope they all fit. I have a feeling they're not going to. It's been a while since I last was actually working on my library. I finished it weeks ago, but we've been very busy doing other things around the apartment. As you can see, we have a new couch. I will show you the full couch and like do an apartment tour at some point with everything that has changed. But that won't be for a little while because we still have a lot of work to do. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do a bookshelf tour now because you saw the process of me reorganizing all of my bookshelves and I just hadn't gotten around to doing the actual tour, so let's do that. Should I use my phone to do the tour? I should use my phone to do the tour. Okay, first up we have black shelf number 1, this big bookshelf in what used to be my bedroom at the beginning of this video and is now a very messy craft room / office. We'll work on that. So this shelf is my one day I'll have kids and I would like to keep all of these books for them, and also sometimes I might have kids visiting the apartment, kids that I babysit, dance studio kids, whatever, and maybe they'll want to read some books. So that's what this shelf is. And also I just really love some of these books and I want to reread them. So up here we have miscellaneous paperback. Some of these are not actually very good, like Into the Land of the Unicorns and The Fire Within. They're not great, they're just important to me, important to my childhood, so I'm keeping them. I also put all my like cute little toy-like knickknacks on this shelf. We have classic paperbacks. These are all classics. Also classics. And I need to change this. Classics. Important. And not like literary classics where like old rich white dudes think they're good and they're actually bad. No, I mean like good children's classics. There are also bad children's classics and I got rid of those ones. These are the good ones. Mini books. I like miniature things and I have been collecting them for much of my life. Then we have my absolute favorite book from last year, which I don't actually know why it's out. I think it might just be because I was taking a picture of it, but it also just looks nice like that. Anyway, miscellaneous, like beautiful, some of my absolute favorite children's books, most of which I read as an adult, except for these 3, which I read as a kid the first time, and then reread as an adult, and they hold up because they are incredible. But this is gonna go in there as well. Some of these are classics, but it's basically just the like junior fiction hardcovers. Is this? There's my masks, all of my masks and my dead Switch. More classics, more children's classics that just didn't fit up there. Then we get into, okay, more children's classics. A few years ago, this was actually in a vlog when I went to used bookstore with my best friend. It's like an autumn vlog from like 2017 or 2018, I don't remember. Anyway, I bought 10 books, which were all of these Dear Canada books. Not all of them, there are dozens of them and I got 10. There's also Our Canadian Girl, which I think is like a lesser known type of thing like that, historical, fictional stories. Mini books, the most important mini books of all, of course, being Robert Munsch books. Very important. I would like to collect more of those. There was a while where they had them at Indigo, but I haven't seen them since. So French books, early readers, English early readers, French books, French Harry Potter books. Then we have, these are special books. These ones and these ones are what we called our special books when I was a kid. They were the ones that we only read before bed once in a while. They're very like pristine, and we didn't read them all the time like our regular picture books. These are books that I got from students when I was a student teacher. Students in classes gave me books. Beautiful. These are my illustrated Harry Potter books. I still haven't decided if I'm going to continue buying them. They are an investment and they are putting money in JKR's pocket, which I do not want to do. I don't know. We'll see. These are like compilations of fairy tales, including one that is, including one that is in Flemish or Dutch. I'm not actually sure which, but because I cannot read it, but. And then these are just regular picture books, all just regular picture books yeah. Moving on, back into the living room. So here we have Black Bookshelf number 2, the other big one. Let's start from the bottom. Here we have, so there's some classics, like literary classics. I don't know if Sherlock Holmes is considered a literary classic, but anyway, also there's some King Arthur books, which are like ancient, and the only reason why I'm keeping them is because they look really cool. They're ancient. I haven't actually read them. I've read other King Arthur books that I didn't like. Oh, Jane Austen is there. Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass. And then this one is poetry and plays, kind of mixed together based on their size. For some reason I have 2 copies of Where the Sidewalk Ends and I didn't donate one of them. I don't know why I didn't do that. Also I have games like TTRPGs over here and zines. And then the next 2 shelves, of course, are my Tolkien shelves, and still the video with the absolute most views on my entire YouTube channel. Even though I made it like 3 years ago, I should update that maybe because I have more Tolkien books than I did back then. Anyway, let's look at them. So I have the History of Middle-earth, of course, my dad's graduation present to me when I graduated university, biographies and letters, and Elven language course. These ones are my dad's, these 3 are my dad's, and these are just some that I've collected. DVDs, extended editions, of course. You've seen this before, The Art of Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is very excellent. Characters from Tolkien from a different artist, which is cool. Then up here we have all of our versions of the trilogy. We have my dad's original that he read when he was a teenager and read to us when we were kids. There's my illustrated, my prize of my collection, my illustrated edition by Alan Lee, my omnibus edition. Why is this here? This is not supposed to be here. My copy of The Hobbit, my dad's copy of The Hobbit, my copy of The Silmarillion. This old box set that I got from the farmer's market for like $4. Smith of Wooten Manor, which I already have like this version of, but for some reason I also have, I think this was my dad's. These are my original trilogy that I got also from the farmer's market, but when I was like a teenager for $2 each, and those are the ones that I read most often, if you cannot tell. These are the ones, another set that my dad gave me, I think for my birthday, which are like his shorter stories. My favorite is Roborandom, about the little dog. These are the 3 most recent books out from Christopher Tolkien with like the stories and the anecdotal stuff. And those are my Tolkien shelves. Ta-da! Also there's this dragon that my dad gave me. And of course Gandalf is here. And then the top shelves, I mean, the top shelves looks kind of funny, and I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I might rearrange it to make it look less funny. It's just the Robin Hood books are just so ostentatious up here. Like, you look at the whole shelf and it's just a pile of gold books. Anyway, but yeah, that's the entire Farseer 3 trilogies, which of course I had to get the British edition because they are absolutely stunning and the American editions are hideous. And then of course my beautiful box set of Anne of Green Gables, which I've given you a tour of before, I believe, which is illustrated by Ellie McKay, who is a local artist. Very cool. And this guy, who doesn't have a name. And that is the shelf. That is my display shelf in the public area of the apartment. Editing Adela here. I accidentally completely forgot to show you the last little black shelf because it's in the guest room, which is currently blocked off with cardboard boxes, but I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna show you really quick just so that this library tour is complete. I'm putting this before the shelves in our bedroom because this is less interesting, so stick around for that. Okay, I have to have the flash on because there's actually no light in this room right now. This shelf, the first one I actually organized. So this is miscellaneous adult contemporary fiction, also random anthologies and maybe other anthologies. Yeah, a couple of anthologies which are fantasy, but they don't fit on the fantasy shelf, so they're here. And then sci-fi, because I do not have very much sci-fi, so that's there. And then more adult contemporaries. Very good, the ones that I have read. Then the next shelf is nonfiction, self-care / arts / politics / history / educational, etc. stuff. And then here we have, these are all autobiographies and biographies, including YouTuber books. And then we get down to my education shelves. So these are educational kids books, Faces magazines, which I used to read for social studies when I was homeschooled. This is like a teacher's college health games for kids kit thing that I have because we got it for free when we did the health and phys ed course. And then these are writing books, mostly writing books, and then also some dance textbooks and education textbooks from Teachers College. And that is this shelf. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Then we come into the bedroom, which I'm not going to fully show you right now, but I will show you the shelves. First up, we have my YA contemporaries and YA standalones, kind of, and YA dystopian and sci-fi. A little bit of a mixed bag of tricks. Also, these are library books that I just got last week. Okay, so we have Libba Bray's contemporaries, which are great. Wonder Woman, of course. One of the best standalone books I have ever read. His Fair Assassin is a series, but I only have one of the books, so I put it here. These are also standalones, and then here are all of my sci-fi and dystopian YA, which I don't have very many, so they can all fit on one shelf. And then down here we have the rest of my contemporaries. So we have miscellaneous contemporaries and of course all of my John Green and Hank Green. And then Welcome to Night Vale and Toothless is here. So that is this sort of miscellaneous but somewhat organized shelf. Then over here, my other little shelf, we have, this is my adult fiction, high fantasy and urban fantasy, so basically fantasy. So the top shelf is my dragon shelf, dragon books only. It has all of the Naomi Novik books. Well, not all of them, I only have 6. When I get the rest of them, I'll have to figure out how to fit them in here. The Waking Fire, which I found out has a second book, so another thing I'll have to figure out how to fit, because I will want to get that. The Rain Relics Chronicles from Realm of the Elderlings, which one of them is at my friend's house who borrowed it a couple years ago and I haven't gotten it back yet. Another thing I'll have to figure out how to fit on here because currently this is squished. Of course, the Memoirs of Lady Trent, with the one that's shorter for some reason, which is very annoying. The Enchanted Forest Chronicles, which is kind of squished in there and I feel bad, but it doesn't fit upright. Then we have high fantasy. So this is my Karen Miller books, which I would like to reread soon because these books, especially the first 2, absolutely destroyed me, and they're one of the few times where I remember sitting and reading for an entire day, other than reading Harry Potter books for the first time. These were books that I sat and read for an entire day, and I would read like 400 pages in a day because of cliffhanger after cliffhanger. Anyway, I was so invested, so I would like to reread those. All of my Patricia A. McKillip books, which I also would like to reread because they are so beautiful and whimsical and magical. I also want to collect more of them because these are all the ones that I have been able to find. They're really hard to get a hold of. They're also really beautiful. Like, oh, look at that. Anyway, and then her older books, her trilogy from like the 80s or something. Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is the ugliest now of my collection of Realm of the Otherling books. Only this one is kind of okay. None of them are what the website I got them from advertised they would be. I thought they were going to be, actually I thought they were going to be the British editions. So they weren't that. This one is at least like this, which is better, and I'd like to get the other two like that. These ones are like, I think the American editions or something, but they're not great. And then finally down here we have urban fantasy, all urban fantasy, and Terry Pratchett. I only have 2 books right now, but I want to get more. And Neil Gaiman, of course, all Neil Gaiman and Naomi Novik standalones. And then the last shelf we have is this small, tall shelf. Tall, sort of small shelf. This shelf was the absolute hardest for me to organize because this, just nostalgia, this shelf was my first bookshelf and it was just filled up in a very specific way, but with not very well organized. But I knew where everything was and it was very specific. There were a lot of books that are from the children's classics over there that were on this shelf, and books from these other 2 shelves were also on this shelf. It was very mixed up, but I have the specific, like I can still see in my head the way everything was organized. So reorganizing it was hard because everything looked wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna show you, it's okay. And the main problem with it is it's not quite big enough for all the books, and also some of the books don't match each other in the series, and that's always annoying. But anyway, let's look at it. Gonna start from the bottom because that's where I put the ugly books and also the books that I wouldn't want to reread as often. The ugly half of the Bloody Jack Adventures. Also, I don't have book 10 or 11, so I don't know why I don't have them. That's my favorite fantasy from when I was 11, and I only own the 3rd book? Is this the 3rd book or the 5th book? Anyway, it's one of the books from the middle of the series, but it's the best one, and I love it. I would like to reread it soon, actually. Bartemius books, Chasing Vermeer, like these books are great. I have nothing against them. They're just, I don't know, I had to put them somewhere. Then next up we have the Inkheart books. I need to get the hardcover of Inkspell, even though I don't know if I'm ever gonna reread these again, but like I feel like I want my kids to read them. These are great books about magic and book lovers, and I remember loving them. I wish that I had the hardcover. I've always been annoyed that I have the paperback. I got it by accident because I didn't know how to order books online when I was 14. Anyway, then we have the entire Septimus Heap series, which all match excellent, and also the bonus book, extra content book. We have Narnia. Then we have the better Leigh Bardugo books and King of Scars, which honestly I could probably give away because it's not my favorite. We have the Wayward Children books, His Dark Materials, the pretty first half of the Bloody Jack Adventures. Put them up where they're more visible because they are much prettier. Then we have all of Libba Bray, the Gemma Doyle trilogy, which is how I started Libba Bray, of course, and the Diviners trilogy. Then we have Maggie Stiefvater, except the first book, which Rebecca was borrowing. And yes, you can see the issue. I'm not going to be able to fit it back on here, so I'm gonna have to have a new shelf for the Dreamer trilogy once I get that one back. Also, I need to get Mr. Impossible. I need to read it. Anyway, this series I started reading in high school. I think these 2 books were out by then, maybe this one, and then I finished it in university. It is very underrated, excellent YA fantasy. And I have not read it since like 1st or 2nd year university, so I would like to go back and verify that it holds up. But from my memory, it really does, and I would like to reread those. Speaking of underrated, slightly less underrated, but still underrated, is the Spirit Walker trilogy by Kate Elliott. One of my favorite heroines of all time. She definitely was when I read these the first time. She is incredible, and I'm very mad that this does not match the size. Another one that I would like to reread at some point. Then moving up to our second last shelf, we have my Silverwing books, which are not the pretty covers. They're fine, and at least they all match. That's the important thing. The Farsala trilogy, one of my favorite fantasy trilogies of all time, including adult fantasy. This is a YA fantasy trilogy, but I've talked about it before. I have reread it probably 6 times. I reread it recently, like 2 years ago, and it holds up absolutely. It's so good. Also, this little pixie in a jar. This is the shelf that my Harry Potter books have always been on, the second from the top shelf, and I just had to keep them there because that is what I need to see when I look at this shelf. It's important, okay? Then on the last shelf we have Redwall books, which I don't have all of them, obviously. There are like 26, I think, total, and I have this many. I don't feel like counting them. So at some point, maybe I will collect more. I usually try and look for them every time I go to a used bookstore and collect a couple. So maybe I'll have more and then I'll have to fill the whole shelf with them, who knows. And then finally, last of all, we have the Queen's Thief series, which, as you can see, changes twice because I have the hardcover of Return of the Thief. I would like to get the paperback of Return of the Thief to match this at least. And then I imagine they'll probably make a box set with the rest of them and this, like everything at some point. That is this edition, since they discontinued the art of these ones, I assume. Anyway, that is that. Then we have this baby dragon up here and some candles. And that is my bookshelf number 1, aka the most important bookshelf, at least historically, and that is my library. So there you go. That was my entire library reorganization project and tour, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly found this very satisfying to finally finish this task that I've been thinking about doing for years, and I'm very glad to have things organized and they look less chaotic and also are easier. It's easier not only for me to find things, but for other people to find things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Also, my friend Sarah made these necklaces. Aren't they great?